Wouldn't you love to be able to control the military and be able to protect everybody at home and all of our interests out abroad? Well, sure, we'd all love to have the power of a dictator or of the president, but unfortunately, that's not the case. And I know none of us have that power because, well, one, you're watching me on YouTube, and two, if you did have that power, you probably wouldn't be interested in me. So, my name's Shaq, and I'm going to go over how to do that. And you might say, hey, who is this guy? I've never heard of him before. But at one point in time, I was the third best in Delaware, and I only was able to get that accomplishment at the age of 12. So I've been playing chess since I was 7, and as I just said, I've been in multiple chess tournaments. Got a little bit away from it as I like to live sports, but I still have a good knowledge of the game, and I also have a few sources I've looked up on chess.com, Chess for Kids, and Chess for Dummies. So I'm going to go over each of the pieces, their moves, and pretty much the objection of chess. So just for descriptive purposes of the moves of each piece, I have removed all the pawns from this side. But before we even get into each individual piece, I'll just go over a brief overview of the game itself. So chess was originated in India, and it ended up spreading through Europe and other parts of the globe as the Moors were able to conquer parts of Europe and Asia and Northern Africa. So to start off, each player is giving 16 pieces total. So you're giving 8 pawns, 2 rooks, 2 knights, 2 bishops, a queen, and a king. So the game is over once you are no longer able to move your king once you are put in the check. And check is pretty much when another piece has the power to force that king to move. So if you force that king to move, i.e. putting it in check, but that king cannot move into another position without being put in the check again, that is considered checkmate. So I'm going to go over the moves of each individual piece. So a pawn can move forward 2 spots on its initial first move. Outside of that, the pawn can only move forward. Now, the pawn can definitely attack. It is restricted in that limitation as it can only attack diagonally 1 square. The next piece that I'm going to go over is the rook. So the rook is able to move forward, inside to side, laterally, and it is able to pretty much keep moving until it comes in contact with an opposing piece or a piece on its own team. So you have the knight, and the knight in any direction it is able to move 2 spots and then up 1. So those 2 spots move need to either be forward, backwards, side to side, but never diagonally, and it will end up making an L formation once it makes that move. The next piece I'm going to go over is the bishop. The bishop can only move diagonal, and it has to stay on the color that it started on. So in that instance, it is able to move as far as it can diagonally until it comes in contact with another piece or its own piece. The queen, a very important piece, a very strong piece. And the queen can pretty much move any direction that it wants on the board, except for the way that a knight moves. So it's able to move forward, backwards, side to side, and diagonally to no avail. Now, the most important piece, as I described before, was the king. Now, the king is also the weakest piece outside of a pawn. So it can only move 1 spot forward or backwards, and it can only move diagonally in that 1 spot. Now, some pieces are capable of having certain special moves. Some of those pieces would be a rook and a king scenario in which you are able to castle. So I'm going to go ahead and move my king, my bishop, and my knight away, and I'm going to turn the board facing you so you can understand. So as you can see, if you were able to move the knight over one spot, and then the rook would move over on the other side of the king. Now, in that regard, this can only happen on the first move of the rook and only on the first move of the king. If either of those pieces are moved prior, then that move is not able to happen. Now, I did that on the queen side, and that would be a queen side castle. And if we were to take those pieces away, start over here, and actually move it on the king side, that would be a king side castle. In tournament rules, there is a time limitation. That is when timers are used. And also, there are also other rules such as like touch a man, move a man, and kind of like checkers where if you touch that piece, then you have to move it. And so I hope you enjoyed this tutorial of how to play chess. And if you ever want to play sometime, please let me know. So I give you a brief overview of how to play chess, just a quick demonstration of how each piece moves. I really do not have the time to be able to go into strategies, but if you would like to look those up, there's plenty online. There's chess champions such as Bobby Fischer, and moves that he's done in the past, and matches that are actually on YouTube, which you can also enjoy. And I hope you have a good night, and don't keep yourself up too long trying to play chess. Have a good night.